On the spin, fires for the win! Got it!
The 30, the 20,
If he scores, it's over.
it's insane! One of the greatest postseason performers ever.
Here's Carroll. He's got it. And the Arizona Diamondbacks are headed to the World Series.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the AZ Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Humpherys, and as always, we're talking all things Suns, Diamondbacks, and Arizona Cardinals. We have a lot to get into today, and let's start with the Arizona Diamondbacks. So the Arizona Diamondbacks, it's just miserable baseball to watch at this point. It really just is. Yesterday, they lost to San Diego Padres by a final score of 10-4. And it was, there were a lot of things that went wrong. We saw Jose Cabrera kind of lose it with some poor fielding choices and a balk that Torey Lovullo ultimately got thrown out arguing, even though it was quite clearly a balk. Although I'm not sure anyone that's not super into baseball, including myself, can really tell you what a balk is, but apparently it was a pretty obvious balk. So there's that. And they continue to just not be able to hit. They are so bad. And you heard it on the ESPN broadcast yesterday, if you were watching, that the Diamondbacks have the worst first baseman OPS in all of baseball this season. But not just all of baseball this season, but in any season that's happened in the last 100 years. Now, can that turn around? Yes. Will it probably turn around? It can't get any worse. So, yeah, I think it's going to get better just because it honestly has to. It honestly has to. And is it going to be turned around by someone on this Diamondbacks team? I don't know. It's a pretty obvious hole that would solve a lot of their problems if they just went out and fixed it, which is a lot easier said than done, obviously. First, a good hitting first baseman that isn't a complete disaster. Defense is pretty valuable. It's pretty valuable. And you see why, because the Diamondbacks just have not been able to produce runs this season. They just haven't. And it's not just this season. It's the past 3 seasons is what I think is causing me and a lot of Diamondbacks fans to crash out right now. Before last night's game, they were 45-46. They're now 45-47. But they've been 45-46 each of the last 3 seasons. 3 seasons. It's no matter what they do, no matter who they play, it's just the same results. It's the same results. It feels like it's a sinking ship, and as soon as you get a couple holes patched up, a few more burst open, and it feels like this promising start to the decade that the Diamondbacks had in 2023, and even at the end of 2022 when they closed the season at almost 500 in 2022 when they brought up guys like Corbin and other guys got brought up. And then 2023, they make the playoffs barely. It was a huge success of a season. And then, boom, they go on this magical run to the World Series. And up until Paul Sewald walked a Texas Ranger in the 9th inning and then gave up the game-tying home run to Corey Seager in the 9th inning, it looked as if the Diamondbacks were going to win the World Series and bring a second championship home to the state of Arizona and the city of Phoenix, but that did not happen. That did not happen. And since then, the Diamondbacks have been chasing that and haven't been able to find it. There's been magic. In 2024, there was the magic month of July, month of August, and ultimately they crashed and burned at the end of September when they all they had to do was just hang on, but they just they couldn't get the job done in September in 2024. Last year we saw them crash and burn following the All-Star break. They just went on a big losing streak and ended up selling at the deadline. Eugenio Suarez, Josh Naylor, both out the door. Merrill Kelly out the door. Randall Grichuk out the door. And then this offseason, they looked at Blaze Alexander and Jake McCarthy and said, "Hey guys, don't really see a spot where we can use you guys. So let's trade you guys and try and get some return." And guess what? Those two guys are both hitting over 300. Jake McCarthy has an 850 OPS, and Blaze Alexander has a 787 OPS. And both of those guys were solid players. Blaze is a guy that could have played just about anywhere in the infield or the outfield. Jake McCarthy was a really good left-handed hitter. Wow, Diamondbacks sure could use a left-handed hitter this year, couldn't they? Especially with the way Pavin Smith and Adrian Del Castillo have been swinging the bat this year. It's just been the same story year after year. And we can point to injuries, and yes, they went after Corbin Burns, they signed Corbin Burns, and it just hasn't worked out for him. It hasn't worked out for him at all. Mostly due to injury. And that's probably the biggest reason the last 2 years that they haven't made the playoffs or probably will not make the playoffs is because Corbin Burns, the highest paid player on their roster, is producing zero on the injury list. So that's number one. That's far and away number one. If they had Corbin Burns, they wouldn't have had to go out and re-sign Zach Gallen. They wouldn't be scraping the bottom of the barrel right now with Ryan Nelson and Michael Soroka on the injured list as well. Like we wouldn't Jose Cabrera wouldn't be in the lineup every fifth day right now. And he's been getting knocked around a bit and made some poor defensive choices yesterday that cost the Diamondbacks at least one run, potentially two with the Tatis balk. And it's just been they had all this talent in 2024 and the future looked really bright. And now you look at the Diamondbacks right now, and a lot of the guys that they've pulled up from AAA have not been able to produce consistently. You saw Tommy Troy belt a 2-run home run last night, and he's been the one guy, it seems, that has really found his footing at the major league level. Ryan Waldschmidt blipped for a few weeks and then crashed. Jose Fernandez blipped at the beginning of the season and then crashed. James Groover never really got comfortable. We saw Tyler Locklear last year. That's not necessarily an answer, but if the Diamondbacks want to bring Locklear up to play at first base, you won't find any complaints from me. Like they need to find something. Lourdes Gurriel has dealt with injuries. The fact that he's even playing right now is pretty crazy, but he hasn't been able to produce much. Nolan Arenado's been up and down, which is to be expected for a 35-year-old that you weren't expecting to carry your offense. And the thing is with this Diamondbacks team is there's a great core to build around right now. I understand why I was so optimistic the last 3 seasons. I understand why a lot of people were. I understand why a lot of people weren't as well. But offensively, you look at Corbin Carroll, you look at Gabriel Moreno, who's been insane. He's been I think they said yesterday he's gotten on base 28 games in a row. Gabby's playing very well right now. Ketel Marte and Geraldo Perdomo has turned it around. You look at those 4 and you say, man, that's a really, really solid 4 to build around. Now, if we can add a power bat, guy like Eugenio Suarez or Josh Naylor, even just having one of those guys on the roster would solve a lot of their issues this year. Nolan Arenado, maybe have you platoon Blaze and Jake McCarthy right now. That would be pretty nice. I wouldn't mind that. Um, you know, you traded Christian, or you didn't trade Christian Walker. You let Christian Walker go in free agency, but if you had just kept him in free agency and maybe the Corbin Burns deal doesn't get done, but maybe you get off, maybe you trade Zach Gallen way earlier than when his value was a lot higher than definitely what it is right now, and then you go out and get Corbin Burns, like, and then not to mention re-signing Zach Gallen this offseason. Uh, I don't know if anyone could have predicted how bad Zach was going to be this year, but it has been really, really, really brutal, really brutal. And what makes it frustrating is that some years we've had a good bullpen, and some years it's been the bullpen that was ultimately the deciding factor in us not making the playoffs. Like 2024, the bullpen really struggled, and the Diamondbacks just had to out offense teams, and it ultimately wasn't enough in 2024. In 2025, the they were throwing guys out there left and right. And guess what? There's lots of bullpen injuries too, like Justin Martinez, AJ Puck, um, Andrew Saalfrank, three guys that the Diamondbacks were planning on relying on a lot this season, all guys that have been on the IL, and they still have a good bullpen. They still have a good bullpen. Now, yesterday, Taylor Clark was really bad. And he's a guy where I haven't thought that it was ever going to be consistent for Clark. He's kind of been a guy that I've just been waiting for the floor to fall out from underneath him, personally. But overall, the Diamondbacks have had a really, really good bullpen this year. A really good bullpen this year. Uh, Yesterday, notwithstanding. And it's just been so frustrating. It's been so frustrating as a Diamondbacks fan, someone who tries to watch these games every single night. It is a rough watch. Quite a few of these nights. I mean, this season there have been a lot more games where the Diamondbacks are down 8-1, 10-2, 9-4, like in the sixth or seventh inning, and then it's just so hard to stay locked in. Like, you're just checking out of these baseball games. And I feel like that was never it was not something that's happened the last 2 years, because because the Diamondbacks never got down by a lot because the offense was just always so good at keeping them in it. And this year the offense has been horrible. Horrible. The Diamondbacks have the worst, I cannot stress this enough. The Diamondbacks have the worst first base OPS in 100 years. In 100 years. Now, there is a guy who is, I mean, we're on our last ditch effort right here, right? Like, we've tried just about everything in the organization except for one guy. And that guy's name is Manuel Pena, or Manny Pena. And Manny Pena has had a meteoric rise through the minor leagues this year. He leads all of he leads the minor leagues in home runs with 28 home runs, and he has a 987 OPS, mostly in Amarillo, but was recently called up to the Reno Aces and has hit a home run yesterday and has been hitting above 300 in Reno. So that's a guy that's really flashing right now for the Diamondbacks in their organization, in their farm system. That's a guy that the Diamondbacks, maybe they just say, "Hey, you're probably not ready, but we got to try something. So let's bring you up for 2 weeks and see if you can solve our issues at first base." He has over, it's not quite 300, but he has over 200 innings combined at first base in his career in the minor leagues. So definitely wouldn't be playing him out of position. And he has been playing first base this season in Amarillo and Reno. So maybe that's a guy that the Diamondbacks can hit the break glass in case of emergency button and go get Manny Pena. I'm not sure that's the right move. It probably is the move that the fans all want, just because he's been producing so well at the minor leagues. It's probably not the smartest front office move because he just hasn't seen major league pitching and his ascension has been so fast that he's not ready for the majors, but it doesn't look like Pavin Smith or Ildemaro Vargas are really ready to hit against major league pitching either. So it's just been such a frustrating season for the Diamondbacks. So frustrating. And can they solve this at the trade deadline? Maybe. I hope they do. I hope that somehow this team figures out how to go on a run and still be within a game or two or three of the wild card, and they can go out, they can get a starting first baseman that can lengthen out this lineup that the Diamondbacks have. Maybe Tommy Troy continues to be the everyday answer in center field. Maybe Lourdes Gurriel can get on one of his hot streaks. Uh, we saw we saw Max Kepler. Sorry, brain farted on the name. We saw Max Kepler have a really good game in on Monday against the Padres. He had a an RBI single and a big home run blast on Monday. Maybe he can get his back going and he can be the platoon outfielder with Lourdes Gurriel. And to combine that with the big four, the top four hitters in the lineup, and maybe you have like a really good offense in the second half of the season. Maybe there's a shot that you can turn it not all the way around, but really get this offense going. And then with as good as the Diamondbacks defense has been, and as good as the bullpen has been, all you need is just the starting pitching to keep you in games. Which the two or the main bright side from this week has been Brandon Pfaadt. It has been Brandon Pfaadt. He's yet to give up a run in two starts since coming back from Reno. He's changed his delivery. He's no longer going over the head anymore. Is it a case that he was tipping pitches? He says no. Jack Summers thinks yes. Um, but in any case, he's changed his delivery a little bit and looks a lot more comfortable on the mound. He has a lot of pitches that are moving a lot better and that are playing a lot better over the plate, and he's being really aggressive, attacking the strike zone. So it's been good to see Brandon Pfaadt kind of make a comeback, although his performances have been against two of the worst teams in baseball, the Giants, and the Padres aren't the worst team in baseball, but they have a really poor offense. I believe they're 29th or 30th in overall runs and OPS and slugging and all those numbers. So they're at the bottom in a lot of offensive categories. And so while Brandon Pfaadt has looked really good against the Giants and the Padres, the question we're really going to get to see how good he looks in Los Angeles this weekend. That'll be that'll be a really good inflection point to see is Pfaadt truly back, or were those two games just more a product of going against bad offenses more than a product of good pitching. So that's something I'm looking forward um, to figuring out. And I mean, we can talk about Zach Gallen, but I feel like the Zach Gallen narrative is just we know that he's gonna be up and down. We know that there's gonna be some bad innings, and he probably doesn't have a whole lot of trade value at the deadline. So uh probably just stuck with him. And then if somehow the Diamondbacks are in a playoff push at the end of the season and Fott's pitching well and Ryan Nelson comes back and Corbin Burns comes back, is Gallen the guy that gets moved to the bullpen or just let go? I don't know. Like I don't know what the Diamondbacks have the stomach for. Like is that something that we could see happen down the road? We'll see. I doubt the Diamondbacks get their pitchers back healthy at the end of the season, just the way things kind of go in baseball. So I think he'll be in the rotation until the end of the season. Can the Diamondbacks make a playoff push? Yes, they can, but the offense has to turn around. And I just cannot watch another Pavin Smith at bat. I feel like the only reason that they've kept Pavin Smith up and given him so much of a leash is because he must be playing through an injury and rushed him back because they felt like, hey, as soon as he can even like try and get at bats, like it's worth it. And he must be playing through like a in my guess, I'm not reporting this. I know nothing, but my guess is that Pavin to be given this long of a leash, it's because he's playing through an injury that they just and it would be unfair to Pavin to DFA him because they brought him back from an injury that he probably should have taken longer to come back from. Whether that was more appearances in AAA, whether that was him going back on the IL and getting things figured out. My guess is that's why. But we've also seen them give a guy like Eugenio Suarez a whole half of a season length of leash before almost pulling the plug. Maybe maybe they believe Pavin's similar to Eugenio Suarez, but really we haven't seen Pavin play very well in 2 seasons. 2025 was a down year for Pavin. He started hot, but then ultimately injuries and poor hitting um, kind of made his season a little stale. And in 2024, he had a really good year. He had a good enough year that the Diamondbacks were like, "Hey, Jock Peterson, like we love you, but we're gonna let you go because Pavin Smith was performing really well as well." And just hasn't been the case this year for Pavin. And I hope he can turn it around. It would be super nice if he could turn it around, but just watching him come up yesterday with runners on base multiple times and not being able to move runs, striking out, flying out, just it just seems to be like he has lost all of his confidence. If you're watching, you've lost all confidence in Pavin Smith. Maybe you never had any to begin with. But it seems like this is the end of the road for him. And I can only imagine the reason why he's still on the roster is because that elbow injury that he was coming back from, they rushed him back quick, and it would just be unfair to him to DFA him, especially when they just don't have any other answers right now. They just don't. I mean, their best answer right now that you can think of is probably the guy that was in Amarillo like a month ago. So that's the state of this Diamondbacks team. Over the course of 3 years, they've continually let talent go out the door and haven't been able to replace it to the point where right now they look like this is the end of the road for just about everyone on the roster that's not in the big four. Man, that was just 20 minutes on the Diamondbacks. Hopefully the other two, hopefully the Suns and Cardinals talk doesn't go that long. So let's get into the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns Summer League starts tomorrow, as of this recording, Thursday, July 10th. And they play Sunday and they play, I believe, Tuesday. And then they have another game, at least one more game, TBD, after that. But it's not wins and losses that matter in Summer League. It's about seeing your young players, your first, second, and hopefully not third year players, but sometimes third year players play in the Summer League and kind of showcase how they've gotten better over the offseason or showcase that they might not be an NBA player. And for the Suns, there's three guys that I am really interested to watch and four guys that every Suns fan should be watching during the Summer League. And for this Suns Summer League, I have 5 questions surrounding that group of 4 players. And the first question is Rasheer Fleming going to play his way off the court in a good way this year with how much stronger and better he should be from last season? So here's what we know about Rasheer Fleming. Rasheer Fleming, according to him and Kellen Olson, I believe, was the one who tweeted this out, said that Rashir's like 240, 250, and he's put on a ton of weight and he is like fully grown into an NBA body. He's ready to play against a lot of different players. He's not going to get pushed around anymore. And in the summer league, he should look honestly like a man amongst boys. He should look like a man amongst boys. And then combine his physical stature with potentially like a really good 3-point shooting game, uh, showcasing an ability to like get to the rim, finish well, finish strong. Like in summer league, you want your second year players to look so good that they don't even finish playing in summer league because they look too good. It's what Devin Booker did in his second year of summer league. It's what basically every good to goodish to really good to great NBA player has done. They show up in their if they even play in their second year of summer league, then they just come out and dump. And that's not even a sign that they're going to be a really good NBA player, but it is a sign that they at least are above a summer league level. Now, if you have a year two player who shows up, doesn't look any better than he did last year, struggles in summer league, then that's like a major, major red flag. And so for Rasheer, I'm not expecting I'm not expecting to see many red flags. I'm expecting him to look like the best athlete on the court, the best defender on the court, knock down shots, shoot with confidence, play off the ball, move really well, rebound exceptionally well. And honestly, if after 2 games, the Suns say, "Hey, you proved to us that you're no longer a summer league level player. You don't need to play anymore." That's what I'm hoping for Sheer Fleming, and I think he's the guy that's most likely to do that. He's the guy that's most likely to flash on the summer league roster, where the Suns say, "Hey, you've played your way off the summer league roster. Let's go." The next question I have is about Kaman Malawach. And he doesn't need to show any skill improvement. To me, I think that's the thing that matters the least to me. What matters to me the most is, does he defend and rebound at an extremely high level? And does he function on the offensive side? So the unfortunate part about Summer League is that often you don't get great basketball product where guys are running beautiful set plays and there's lots of chemistry and ball movement. It's more like a pickup game. It's definitely more like a pickup game. And so is Malawach going to get utilized in summer league like he's going to be in the NBA playing next to guys like Devin Booker, Jalen Green, Colin Gillespie? Absolutely not. It's unfortunate for guys like Malawach who benefit so much from playing with those guys. He won't have any of those guys in summer league with him. With that being said, what I do want to see from him is him rebound the ball strongly. His hands, he just has had a hard time holding on to rebounds in college and in his first season in the NBA. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most, is to see, have his hands gotten better? Has he gotten stronger since playing back in? Let's see, he last really played major minutes in the at the beginning of April. Has he gotten better from that? Has he gotten stronger? Um, does he look good on defense? Is he affecting ball handlers in pick and roll defense? Is he contesting everything at the rim? Is he forcing guys to go into the lane and turn around or go through the lane without shooting because of his size and presence? I just want Kaman Malawach to look like a dominant defensive big. And then on offense, hopefully the Suns and the guys that they have on the roster can look for Malawach and find Malawach on drives, driving kicks. Maybe Malawach shows us, "Hey, I've been working on my 3-point jumper, uh, and it's gotten a lot better." Maybe he can get to the free throw line and shoot better from the free throw line. Those would all be positive signs. I think Malawach just needs to play a lot of basketball. He's a guy that uh, didn't start playing basketball till late into his life, like 14 years old. So I think honestly, just the more basketball experience he gets, the better. So even if he looks dominant in summer league, just play him, play him the whole summer league, because just needs reps, and it will be and hopefully in summer league he can get a lot of reps. All right. The next guy that I have a question about is Koa Pete. Now we know Koa Pete, and he said so, is he wants to lead the league. He wants to lead summer league in offensive rebounding. And I believe him. I think that's pretty attainable for his physical presence and how good he is and how physical he is. But what I want to see from Koa Pete is a guy, even if the jump shot doesn't go in, I want to see a guy who's confident on offense, looking to score. Whether that's it doesn't have to be shooting the three, but I want to see a guy on offense who, even if he misses a lot of shots, I want to see a guy who is not afraid to take shots. Honestly, I want to see a guy who's aggressive on offense, getting to the basket. I want to see a guy who's aggressive, looking for his pull up jump shot. Something that he was really good at Arizona was the intermediate mid range game and scoring out of that. It was, I don't remember who they played in the Elite Eight, but like he pretty much, oh, it was Purdue. Against Purdue, he just kind of took over in the mid range area to create some separation in that second half. He led Arizona in scoring in the NCAA tournament after having kind of a not a letdown, not a letdown kind of performance in the Big 12, but because of injuries and just how stacked that Arizona team was, he didn't have this like big scoring Big 12 conference season that a lot of people thought he might have. But in the tournament, he showed flashes of it, and I hope to see a guy who's really aggressive on offense and obviously showcases his ability to rebound and defend and just play smart basketball at a high level. I think those are all givens with him. So what I want to see from him is a guy who's aggressive, trying to score the basketball and create for others. The last guy that I have a question about is Kobe Brea. And does he look like a summer league player or an NBA player? Already talked about this a little bit, just general summer league. But if Kobe Brea is going to have a career in the NBA, he's going to have to show up this summer league and shoot the lights out of the ball. He's going to have to score at a really high level, and he's going to have to prove that, hey, like, I might get picked on in the NBA, but like none of these, like, I'm not going to get picked on in summer league on the defensive end. So does he look like an NBA player? An NBA player should dominate summer league, or at least be the best players on the court in summer league. Maybe not dominate, because we've seen a lot of like fringe level NBA guys dominate summer league, just like 30 pieces, like all of that. So Kobe Brea should be one of the Suns' leading scorers. I think he gets a ton of rotation minutes in all of the Suns summer league games. And like how does he look? Does he shoot the ball well? It's basically it's this summer league is not just an audition for the Phoenix Suns, but it's also for the other 30 teams in the NBA, because uh, Brea could be off a two-way contract halfway through the season, or if he doesn't play well in training camp, he could be gone by then too. So he has to prove himself in summer league, just not just to the Suns, but to a lot of other teams as well. So as far as future careers go, the guy who is needing a big summer league performance the most is Kobe Brea, because he's on that two-way contract and was a second round draft pick for the Suns. And the last question that I have for this Phoenix Suns Summer League roster is, how does the Phoenix Suns front court look playing together for the first time? So obviously it won't be next season or 2026 or probably not even 2027, but in 2028, if you're projecting what the Suns are hoping the starting lineup looks like down the road, it's Devin Booker, obviously. We don't even have to. that's just not even a question, right? It's Devin Booker. Pretty much every other spot, you're not entirely sure. Like, are they gonna bring Green back, extend Green, the Dylan Brooks extension? Is that gonna happen? Miles Bridges, they're gonna extend him, but like, is he a long-term guy on the Suns or just a guy that they're gonna flip after, you know, maybe creating even more value for him? Mark Williams, like the plan is for Malawatch to be the guy in a year or two. So the future Phoenix Suns front court, if you're projecting it right now, it's Kaman Malawatch at center. It's Koa Pete at power forward, and it's Rasheer Fleming at the three. That gives the Suns a jumbo, super big, super athletic, incredibly good rebounding, defensive front court. Now, even if one of those guys isn't a starter, all three of those guys are going to be playing huge rotation minutes and will be spending a lot of time on the court together. And the very first time we get to see this as Suns fans is in this summer league, which is really exciting. It is so exciting that we get to see, hopefully, the future of the Suns organization in Koa Pete, Kaman Malawach, and Rasheer Fleming. And it's going to be interesting to see how these guys look playing together. Is there chemistry right away? Are Koa Pete and Rasheer Fleming going to be able to play together without it looking too clunky and redundant? Can Pete and Malawach coexist on the floor at the same time with neither being a threat to shoot from three? What is it going to look like? Can the Suns be the best defensive summer league team? Because I'm not really all that optimistic about this Sun, like them scoring a ton of points in summer league, any of the three of those guys. But does this team just like completely lock it down on the defensive end of the court and push the ball and score in fast break? Koa Pete is really, really good at scoring in transition. Rasheer Fleming was really good in college and showed some explosiveness in the NBA. Scoring in transition, Can Malawach be that anchor in the middle that we've been looking for? And does Fleming and Pete make him look even better because they're just so big, strong, physical guys? Like that, there's so many questions about how those three are going to coexist in summer league. So I'm hoping personally that we get to see those three play a lot of minutes together, play all 4+ games that they're going to play in summer league together. That's what I want to see. I want to look at those three and say, hey, this is the future front court of the Phoenix Suns. I want to get excited about it. I want to see flashes of incredible potential from all three of those guys. If it doesn't look good at all, you know the deal. It'll be it'll be the Suns looking to, like, if those guys follow the Ryan Dunn path, they won't have much trade value. They won't have much value at all. And then it'll be Devin Booker surrounded by a bunch of nobodies again in a couple seasons. And he's just he's just been in that position too many times in his career. It's honestly unfair to him. He just has not. He's just had a very unpredictable and unfortunate career outside of his 3 to 4 year run with Chris Paul and Kevin Durant. So I'd hate that for him. And I know that I'm sure there will be a lot of the team in summer league. I mean, these guys are super close, so I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see Colin Gillespie and Jordan Goodwin and a bunch of those guys in the stands losing their minds when Malawach does something incredible or for sure Fleming has a monster dunk. So I'm excited for to see that as well. Hopefully we get to see the Suns chemistry that was so good last season. Hopefully that continues into summer league and we see a group that's close come even closer. Like, and as much as this summer league probably isn't about this season specifically with who else the Suns have on the roster, this summer league will help us determine whether or not we should be excited about the future young draft picks from the Phoenix Suns for the next 2 to 3 seasons. Woo. 17 minutes on the Suns, guys. All right. Couple quick hitters for the Arizona Cardinals. So OTAs ended about a month ago. So give or take a week. And the headlines coming out of OTAs was the Jacoby Brissett contract. Gardner Minshew is asserting himself as a guy who could be the day one starter. Carson Beck is spending so much time in the training room. Jeremiah Love looks great. Michael Wilson and Marvin Harrison Jr. Hopefully they can be this awesome 1-2 wide receiver tandem. Trey McBride, awesome. But since then, we've had a few storylines come out. This week, Jacoby Brissett worked out with his teammates and is still in contract negotiations. But for everyone saying, "Oh no, like Brissett isn't getting reps with his guys," like as long as he understands the Mike LaFleur offense and they get everything resolved and he's practicing and in training camp, everything's going to be fine. I expect this contract negotiation to play out for just a couple more weeks. I think it gets resolved pretty early into training camp. If not, it's just honestly like the lamest quarterback team controversy ever. It just is the most like lame starting quarterback controversy ever. Because this Cardinals team is going to win what, like 3 games this year? Like Jacoby, look in the mirror, but also Cardinals just like if he's your starter, just give him a few million more than Gardner Minshew and shake hands, call it a day, and then guess what? Brissett's probably not on the team next year. But he was working out with teammates. And so any thought as to if there's any fracture in the locker room between the teammates? I don't think so. He was working out with a lot of the guys, so I'm not expecting this contract negotiation to have any impact on Brissett's job as a starter right now. 2 weeks into training camp, that'll change, but right now, Brissett seems to have a good relationship with all the guys, and if he truly is the starter and the Cardinals meant what they said in May, then he's going to be the starter at the beginning of the season. Another storyline that came out was that Trey McBride was lowballed by the Arizona Cardinals. So it seems like the Cardinals have a habit of trying to lowball guys. And this is really, really bad because McBride was one of the best tight ends in the NFL. And the Cardinals tried to really lowball and offered him 12 million, where now he's making a lot more. I believe it's 18 and a half to 19 million a year. But he talked about how maybe he was just going to play one more year in Arizona and then move on with how low the Cardinals' first offer was to him. And obviously it's contract negotiations. Like you can't just, I mean, probably what the Cardinals should have done if they're a good organization, they just say, "Hey, Trey, here's $76 million for 4 years. You're the highest paid player in the NFL." And then Trey says, "Where do I sign?" Ideally, that's how it should work. And maybe the Cardinals could have done the, "Hey, we'll pay you 16." And then McBride says, "Well, I want 20." And then they settle on 18 or 19, right? It shouldn't even have had to been a negotiation. That's the part that sucks. It shows that Michael Bidwell and this ownership group and this front office are still operating like a sad, sorry NFL franchise. And that, above all else, is going to have to change before the Cardinals are ever able to compete for a Super Bowl again. Whether that's a change in ownership or a change in ownership philosophy, a change in how business gets done, but the bullseye is pointed right at Michael Bidwell. He got to hide behind the clown show that Robert Sarver was for a decade. But guess what, Michael Bidwell? We got Matt Ishbia now. He's not a clown show. Does he make questionable decisions? Yeah. Every owner makes questionable decisions. Ken Kendrick is operating within the means that he can as a Arizona Diamondbacks owner. Some people complain about it. He says that he invests everything that he makes from the team back into the team. I believe him. The way baseball has structured teams' ability to make money is really, really unfair to smaller market teams like the Diamondbacks, and really helps out the teams like the Dodgers, who make a ton from their TV deals and get to keep a lot of it. So so the So the bullseye is pointed squarely at you, Michael Bidwell. You, sir, are the worst owner in this town. You, sir, are the worst owner in Arizona. Now that we don't have a hockey franchise, there were two other worse owners in town than you, but both of them have uh, been pushed out in the last half decade, and now the bullseye is on you. And for those of us who grew up Arizona Cardinals fans or who are converting to Arizona Cardinals fans, we're sick and tired of your nonsense. We're so done with all the games and all the bad business that you do. We're done with it. We want a winner. We want to compete for Super Bowls. We believe that we can build a fan base in Arizona if we have a winning culture. But guess what? This sorry, sad sack of a franchise will never be able to engage the transplants that move to Arizona. They will never be able to really get the people who have lived in the valley their whole lives. Well, guess what? Guess what they've seen from the Cardinals? They've had two exciting teams, three exciting teams. Four, we can be generous and give one of the Kyler Murray seasons. But like, we've had four exciting seasons since the franchise has been in Arizona. It's hard to build a fan base that just expects to lose. It's just hard. Winning is what creates a fan base. So if you want actual Cardinals fans to show up to your games, start trying to build a good roster and take all the necessary steps to do that. Yeah, has Matt Ishbia made some bad trades? But I believe that Matt Ishbia is trying to win at all costs. And I don't believe that Michael Bidwell is trying to win at all costs. I believe that Michael Bidwell is looking out for Michael Bidwell first, second, and third. And then it comes down to maybe hopefully the Cardinals can win as well. So the bullseye's on you, Michael Bidwell. Let's end with some positives. Josh Sweat is number 78 on the NFL's top 100 players list. Buda Baker is number 75 on the NFL's top 100 player list. He dropped about 40 spots, but Sweat jumped about 20 spots. And so good to see that those two guys are getting recognition for being two of the best players in the NFL. But now that those two guys have been announced, is there anyone outside of Trey McBride that we think is going to be on that list? Is I don't know, like Jeremiah Love probably won't be on the list, just because he hasn't proved anything. But like Michael Harris, or excuse me, Marvin Harrison and Michael Wilson, I don't think either of those two guys are going to make the list. I don't see anyone else on the Cardinals defense making the list. Hopefully Will Johnson can be a lockdown corner this year and get onto the list next year. Maybe Walter Nolan can do the same thing, but outside of Trey McBride, I don't know if any other Cardinals player is going to make this list, which is unfortunate. Maybe the Cardinals go out and they get Baker Mayfield, who is in contract negotiations of his own. with Tampa Bay, that would be another guy on the list, and then that would, definitely set us up to compete this year. And maybe if they don't compete this year, then you pick Jeremiah Smith at the top of the draft next year. But that's the Arizona Cardinals talk. That's the Arizona Sports Podcast. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time. Go Suns, go Cardinals, and come on, miserable Diamondbacks. Let's at least go split this series and beat those Dodgers. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to watch the full podcast version, there's a playlist right here that you can click on. If you want to watch more videos, you can click over here. And please remember to always, always, always like the video, comment on the video, subscribe if you haven't already. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. We're all there all the time. So please follow us. Please continue to support the AZ Sports Podcast. And I will see you on the next episode.